As many of you know, I'm sure there's a lot of technology and a lot of people working very hard here every day at Blueshift to make sure that your infrastructure and your data remain secure. But up until now, you've not really been able to see that information for yourself. So today we're going to debut this new feature for you. It will provide you with those real-time insights. So you can log in and see what our technology is doing and see what our managed SOC is doing for you as well.
Great. Thanks, Rob. Hi, everybody. Don't worry, there's only 3 slides here just to level set on this new capability that we're going to be I'll be demonstrating shortly here by way of what we're calling the Management Console. So it's primarily focused on users like yourselves, either MSPs or customers, and it's meant to kind of provide a visibility into what it is, the value that you're getting out of the Blueshift service. So it gives high-level summary metrics that include things like the threats that have been blocked, what endpoint, how many endpoints are under management, usage, license, and newly added metrics that we're adding every day to this, and I'll be showing you some around the vulnerability counts and risk scores, and we're continually adding to the list of available data that you'd be able to get access to. It's not for forensic purposes, so there's really no drilling down into details, and that's intentional per the way that Blueshift CTO Greg wants this to work. So there's no data in here that could be used in any way maliciously. It's relatively high level information, and again, it's just meant to give a constant contact. If you're an MSP and you want to be constantly letting your customers know what this solution is doing for them on a regular basis and know what they're paying for, you can do that. And as a customer, you can do the same and sign into it and see the continually updated set of information that's coming in near real time as to how what the Blueshift offering is doing for you in your case. Next slide, Rob. Okay, so just as a very high-level features, it's really essentially a reporting mechanism that it's meant to give you very easy access to these high-level sets of metrics that I talked about earlier. It is customizable for each individual user, and we call it active because the data is continually flowing in, so it does update on a regular basis as well. So I'll be demonstrating the customizability that you have there on the dashboard by way of the primary feature. So as we continue to add new widgets, we call them, containing new data sets, you'll see them appear on your dashboard, and you have the ability to customize the end result, and that remains with you between sign-ins as well. For when you're looking at it from an MSP's perspective, if you're managing multiple customers, you actually get to not filter is one way to think about it, but you're really you can put yourself in context or look at a single user or customer's perspective and even set up and configure reporting for them and have those emails shipped out or have those reports sent out to them. But the idea is that you actually become what the tenant would see if they were to log in, the customer would see when they log in. This gives you the ability to add additional users if you want that customer to be able to log in to view their data. You can add new users that whether they be, there's a couple of different roles in there, just a read-only user and someone who can also create or generate reports on their own. It is localized into a number of different languages. That's based on your browser. So if for those in around the globe, this will continue to add to the list of available languages. This was the starting point that we had now. You do have the ability as an MSP to add secondary or as many administrators as you want. So you'll be given a primary access to one person, and then additional users can be created for or you can go in and create additional administrators that can have the equal or equivalent capabilities that you were given initially. And of course, the whole point of this is around the reporting, really being able to go in and generate a report. We have canned reports out of the box, and we're going to continue to grow that list of reports that you can then set up and configure to be run on a regular basis and either be emailed out automatically, or they can, the reports themselves will just be executed and stored in a PDF format that you can go back and view at any time. And just by way of note, we've done our best to make this also mobile friendly. So although the primary interface would likely be a desktop or a laptop with a browser, it should work fairly well on smaller devices as well. It's rendered using mechanisms that allow it to scale to those different formats. All right, next slide, Rob. Okay, and so just as I kind of alluded to earlier, there's this hierarchy that's implicit in the system, and depending upon who you are, whether you're an end customer or you're an MSP or the Blueshift admins themselves, you fall in these different categories. So in this case, MSP 1 is managing or has 3 customers, and they'll be able to see the data in an aggregate or at an individual customer level within the dashboard, depending upon how they change their view within there. Now, just by note, all of the setup of the, whether it be for an MSP or customer or the sensors, the devices that are part of a customer's deployment, is all set up and created or managed by the Blueshift administrators. You don't have to do anything. As a new customer comes online, you will just automatically see them appear underneath your list of available customers when they get set up and configured and the devices are sent out by way of a customer, direct customer, or as you get added, you'll be able to access or sign in and again automatically see the data coming in for your environment, the things that have been the devices that have been deployed there. You'll be able to see what they are, and whether you're an MSP or a customer, you can actually decorate or make small data modifications to some of these objects that you'll see in here. So specifically things like a tenant device, rather, give you the ability to put, say, some more details about where the location of that device is. If you have more than one sensor in your environment, you may want to say this is in data center 1, rack 2, or something like that. So we do give the ability to customize that, as well as customer information as well. If you're an MSP, you can decorate customers that are already set up underneath you with additional contact information and at location information as well. Okay, so I think that's probably it. I think we're all here to see this new dashboard, so let me go ahead and share. Okay, so let me just sign out here real quick. So you see, I'm gonna sign in as Kevin to start off with. Kevin works for a company called Security Co., which is an MSP who has a couple of customers that he's responsible for or he manages. When you log into the dashboard, it automatically sets up a date range of a couple of weeks that we're looking at here. So things that are trend or aggregated in here would initially show as the 2 weeks time frame, but you can change that date range very easily at the top as you wish. So again, I won't go through all of the details because you'll be able to come in here and it's pretty straightforward, but we try to give you an overview of the activity that's been happening. And again, my default view as an MSP is to look at things across all of my organizations. So these numbers are aggregated, the number of agents and protected devices, the vulnerabilities, the blocked attacks, malicious connection, et cetera, are all aggregate for all of my customers underneath here. Recently added, if we've given you kind of a preview of this before, and We had a limited set of widgets we've added to recently, which includes these vulnerabilities. Counts are new to here, and the risk scores. The risk scores that show here are basically before and pre and post having the XDR in place. And we can go into more details, or we can get Greg to go into more details on how these are calculated. But it's essentially giving you an understanding of the currently because in a customer view, it doesn't make sense or in a multi-customer view, it doesn't make sense to aggregate or average these numbers together. That really doesn't do you any good. So I'll show you how this switches when you put yourself in context or when a customer signs in. So you get to see the current or latest vulnerability counts across those two, the customer risks, the SOC Alert Trends. So anything we call a trend here is really just plotting that graph over time and including the vulnerabilities that we talked about and a breakdown of critical, high, medium, and low. These are somewhat active, so you can change if there's multiple plots like this on a graph, you do have the ability to change or to customize those. And as well as all the sensors, in this case, the top sensors by SOC Alert, since we only have a couple in here for the demonstration, there's only, two showing here. This is fully customizable as to what it is that I want to see. So if I wanted to take away, say, the blocked attacks on here, you'll notice that the dashboard will change and refresh. And this will be I'm signed in as Kevin now, and this would be my view that's persistent across sign-ins. So these sign-ins, this persists across each time it's stored. Your preferences are stored in the repository. So no matter where you sign in, this will look and feel the same. If I change the date range, obviously this would change, a little bit about the data as I go through and refresh. Let's see here as well. So this is a fully dynamic display. And if you happen to want to capture this information right here as it is for posterity purposes or for sharing, you can also generate a PDF with the information that's being displayed on here. So this instantly created a PDF for me and gives me the ability then to kind of save that, attach it to an email or what have you, send it out if I wish. So you can you don't have to kind of screen capture or save this in any way. You just click on the PDF. Now I mentioned one of the features of this, and I'll show you what it looks like when you sign in as a customer as well, if you're a customer or if you're interested in what they would see. But if Kevin switches to the view of BiggieCo, this is actually, he's now not just filtering, but Kevin is actually in context of BiggieCo, meaning that things that he sees and he does are exactly what someone that signs in from BiggieCo would see and what they would be able to do within here. A couple of things changed on the dashboard when I did that. Primarily, the risk scores now show as these dials widgets because now I'm in context of a single customer. So it makes sense to kind of show a little more drill down. And I can also see how the risk or how the scores are changing over a period of time that I have up in the display up here. So am I trending up or down, from a risk perspective, from a vulnerability perspective down below? I can see that as well. So again, I'm looking at things just as if someone were to sign into it. Speaking of users and sign-ins, as the MSP or Blueshift can give access to a single customer by adding a user here and gives me the ability to say whether they're read-only or not, which basically means can they run reports that I'll show you in a second in here. But this basically now both Phil and Jill have access and they can sign in. And when they do sign in again, they would see this exact information or this a dashboard with the same type of data in here. They would not have the BiggieCo or this drop down and giving them the ability to change or see other tenants' data, obviously. And I'll show you that right at the end of the demo as well, what it looks like from their perspective. But essentially, Phil and Jill work for Big Eco, and they maybe want to have access for whatever reason. If you want to give them access to that, it's not required. But it is possible for them to give a specific customer or a set of customers access to that. They can see, or you can see if there is a sensor, what it is. And this is where I was mentioning earlier, it does give you the ability to kind of decorate or make minor changes to the content so that if it's more helpful to to know that that's in the California data center and on the first floor. You can, add any additional helpful information if there is any that you want to add to there as well. Now, when it comes to reports, again, I'm looking at things from Big Eco. If I change it to look at everything, these are all of the reports that are being run across all of my customers now and have been completed. So I can see, when they were executed, what the scope was. So I'll show you in a minute how you set up a report. And you can choose whether it be for all customers or just for one of your customers. And then I can always go back and again, every report that's run shows the content of the report. So you don't have to worry that if a report you just have being sent to a customer, you don't have to also copy yourself on it. You can always go back in and retrieve the contents of that report at any time if there's a question about it or something like that. So before I go too much further, again, what you're able to do as both a customer who is kind of a non-read-only customer, or as an MSP, I can come in and I can create or schedule a report to be run. Again, if you come back to the very beginning, what we're talking about here is the ability to keep in contact and let understand, either if you're an end consumer, to understand what Blueshift, the service, is doing for you. And you can come in and set this up so that once a week or once a month you get a summary report. Or as an MSP, you want to make sure you can send these reports off proactively, again, to kind of help everyone understand the value that they're getting from the service over time. So you can create a new report. Again, we have only a limited number of reports right now. The executive summary has a set of high level set of information in here. And if I set myself in context of a single customer, I have access to the risk and vulnerability summary as well. So because the risk and vulnerability summary doesn't make sense, for an MSP across multiple customers, you have to put yourself in Big Eco or one of your customers' context if I want to create this for them. So if I say, Big Eco risk report or something, I can run this either one time right now with the last 30 days. I can do a custom range, or I can schedule the report to be run, weekly on Monday or Friday, or monthly on the first of every month or something. And then I can put in a list of email addresses that I want to have it sent to. We didn't want to restrict it to the set of users that were set up earlier. You may not have given access to a particular customer to sign in, but you wanted to be able to put in the CEO at Big Eco or something. So you can basically put in a comma-separated list of email addresses that you see fit to have this report sent and emailed off to them on a regular basis. If you do one time, it'll also immediately go to them as well. So if I just run this report one time and do this right now, this report would get automatically generated and completed and should show up over here all but immediately. And then, you'll be able to basically get, at the moment, it's a very kind of basic report that kind of talks about, the specific numbers at a given point in time. We'll continue to kind of increase the visual appeal of some of these reports. Right now, we're focused on trying to get the data out to you for you as fast as possible, and we'll kind of clean these up as time goes by. The only other thing I guess I'd show is you'll notice that when I switch back and I'm signed in as an MSP at this point, there is an additional organizations menu item. So organizations is essentially a list of all my customers. I can see them in this list here, including myself, but here's essentially the list of my customers. Again, these were pre-set up by Blueshift, so you don't have to do anything in here, but if you wanted to come in and put some more details around the address and primary contact, since you may know the customer better, you can feel free to come in and edit or modify these information. You can't delete a customer and you can't add a customer as an MSP, but you are able to modify some of these set of pieces of data that you on here, since you may be more familiar with that set of information. Okay, so that's, I guess, it in a nutshell. I did promise that as I got to the end of this that I would show you here. Now I'm signing in. Let's see, if I put myself in context of BigEco, I'm now looking at things as BigEco would see. And if you'll notice that I'm signed in on a different browser here, but I'm signed in as Phil from BigEco. So just to give you an idea of what this looks like, I'm in the light theme here. We have a light theme and a dark theme, just a contrast I showed what the difference was here. But you can see that I'm seeing the same information, but I have a different, I have that whittled down list of menu items and things that I'm allowed to do and see. Again, if I'm given non-read-only access, I'm able to generate a report, but it's only for myself. And this is only going to be data for my particular, for my own environment. I don't have access or visibility into others. And that's really how all the pieces fit together here. So this would be exactly as a customer, and you as an end user would be able to come in and have the same visibility to the data, but just for your own specific environment.